All right, thank you for staying with the Monday Report. Honorable Moses Kuria is still with me, former CS for Public Service. And Mwesh, before we went on the break, you were talking about political dividends. What are your main fears around this new cabinet?
You know, my fears are not fears about the individuals in the government. I'm sure I know most of them. I know maybe except you know, four of them who I don't know personally. I know the rest of them, you know, from a very personal level. So I don't know the new guy for agriculture. I understand he's from my neighboring village. I don't know him. From what I've been told, from my home to his home is a walking distance, but I don't know him. I don't know the young man from water, but he looks like a guy who knows what he's doing. I understand the lady from on ICT, in ICT is, you know, is grounded in that piece of work.
Yeah.
And I don't know the lady on EAC, a very important docket. I don't know her, but I hear she was nominated by Raila Odinga, so she must be a good person. Yeah. But overall, I know most of these people, so I don't have any major issues about their capacity to deliver.
So where are they most exposed?
My exposure is around where we are as a country.
Yeah.
Let me start with my good friend, my college mate in the University of Nairobi School of Business, John Buddy, and with whom we served for 10 years, a whole 10 years in the budget committee. So I know he knows, because I mean we were in the budget committee together. Now John Buddy is going to be confronted by 4 major risks. You know, the first risk, the most important one, is of course this expenditure. Now with all the 2 collapsed finance bills,
yeah,
it's a must. He must take the knife and cut government expenditure. He must do a microscopic review with some boldness, and he's very stubborn. Let me tell you something. At least that's one. If he doesn't do it, he can only refuse to do it. John Buddy is a very stubborn man. I can tell you, from the university to parliament to budget committee. So if he decides to do the right thing, he will do the right thing. And the right thing he must do. He must face all accounting officers, all ministries, departments, and agencies on the eye and tell them you've got to cut all that, the extra fat.
Yeah.
The
Will
travels,
he succeed? Having knowing the bureaucracy around that you mentioned.
Well, he needs help, and I think because he won't have the same kind of political baggage that some of us coming from the Kenya Kwanza side, I think if he comes as a rank outsider, he can be able to navigate that one. But that's only part of the story. The other part is that John Buddy has to camp at KRA. He has to turn it upside down. Like Jesus went to the place of worship and turned tables upside down. That's what I expect John Buddy to do. To go to KRA, scream from that 10th floor, turn the whole place upside down, and tell them, I was just for the last 3-4 years, consistently KRA has missed the target. Consistently. The last time, 2019, we got 107% performance. I've been tracking that, in terms of targets vis-a-vis actual performance. So if you don't raise revenue, and I'm not saying add taxes, because now we are in that situation whereby maybe it's going to be fortunate enough to add the taxes. But even within the current, tax framework, much more needs to be done to reform KRA. I expect John Buddy to place this right on top of his agenda, that KRA must be reformed. We must bring more people into the tax bracket so that the few people who are paying taxes are able to observe some relief. I'm expecting him to praise the issue of automation, right in the front of KRA, so that now the issues of tax evasion, we can reduce them. If he does that, not only I think, sitting from where I think, if John Buddy does his work right, he can hit 5 trillion shillings in revenue without adding taxes. I'm sure he can, And if he does that, then we start to bend the curve in terms of all these other issues. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. He can hit 5 trillion, and I see that something like VAT, for example, if we hit 5 trillion with the same tax regime, we can reduce VAT from 18% to 16%, from 16% to 14%, for example. Why not? Yeah, if we get more people to pay taxes. But that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Finally, John Badi has to do much more in terms of relationship with our development partners, with the markets, not just partners, but also with the markets. He has to reform the debts. He has to mature debts which were, questionably taken by the previous regimes, which were short-term, high cost debts. Go for more concession. He has to do a lot of transformation, a lot of boldness required there. And he's doing that at a time when the market, the other day, I think Moody's downgraded us, Fitch downgraded us. If I know IMF has postponed the review, the review that was supposed to pass the Kenyan package end of July, they said end of August. If that gets postponed again, John Badi is going to lose some weight.
How much of what is expected to do depends on the goodwill from the head of state?
I think a lot. I mean, the head of state is a core CS for National Treasury, for all intents and purposes. He's a core CS. Some of the things that the president has to do are diplomatic. He has to pick the phone and, talk to the chaps at World Bank and, talk to the MD of IMF and all that. He has to invoke his political capital, especially on the global arena. Something I think he's been doing very well. So John Badi, he really needs the president and the goodwill of the president to be able to do that, because they are co-joining him. There's some things that Badi can do, and he can do it very well. There are things which only the head of state can do. And I'm really praying for him that we really remain on the good books, for example, for World Bank and for IMF, that, I'm also fearing, because if IMF doesn't come through end of this month, in another 19 days, this shilling might hit 170. The dollar might hit 170 to the shilling, So I'm really hoping and praying for him, And on Sunday when I go to church, I'll say a prayer for John Badi to hope that IMF stay engaged on this. I'm just saying IMF specifically because that is the first real litmus test for John Badi. And the second litmus test will come a year down the line with the maturities that are coming in there. If I was to advise John Badi, I would tell him really, to use some of the education we were taught by Professor Nzoma in school together, me and him, and really publish, a spreadsheet of what is maturing when. The debt commission that some people really, bastardize is very important. So that, and John Badi needs to put his energy there so that we are all able to see because let me tell you something. This year, the shilling, stabilized to 129 from 160 just by paying the Eurobond. Because you can see the impact of paying debts on the currency. If we are in the bad books of IMF now, or 1 year down there, because I've looked at those maturities. I've looked at the maturities coming next year. They don't look very good. And I consider myself I've done very well. But I know one guy who has done better than me in that cabinet. That's Professor Juguna Ndungu. He's really steered the ship. He's really navigated that. It's like driving a manual car up the hill when it's raining. You have to put on the wiper, balance the clutch, balance the accelerator, work on your brakes. It's really, really very delicate. He needs prayers, grace, and luck all at the same time, But that's for that. Other than that, some of our flagship programs that really I'm worried about. I really hope we come through on the universal healthcare. First, because I believe that there's some engineering required around that issue of universal, especially on the funding, because we are already starting the universal, and Ghana had to recall its universal healthcare program. If you don't fix the issue, and now even more worse with the revenue projections that are there, and starting with underfunding of a very critical program, I hope we don't have to go through the Ghana way. I don't know that the lady who was taken over by at health, but I would really ask her to I don't know her at all. I never met her, but I really do hope that she keeps the number of Susan Nakumeja on a speed dial, because she will require a lot of that. She require a lot of that.
Flagships, what about the Hustler Fund? Do you find it ironical that Oparanya, who did not believe in that, is now the one in charge of it?
It worries me a bit, but what worries me more is that we have disbursed the Hustler Fund to 21 million Kenyans, 12 million of whom have run away with the money. 12 million out of 21 million. And the remaining ones have difficulty paying, except we have only 2 million quality borrowers, what we call the super borrowers, on that particular fund. So Opalanya has to get from not believing in it to believing in it to really doing some work. Some real work to transform that. Remember also he has the cooperative docket.
Yeah.
And some of us, like from the coffee and milk area, will be asking for instant solutions of all those things, So really, Opalanya's work is cut out, for him. And he really has to, the only lucky guy I know is one James Opio Wandai, my very good friend. Because of energy. Because a lucky guy called Davis Churchill, what Davis had done for the last 2 years is really talking to our partners in terms of putting together, the kitty, especially for the last mile, which is very close to Kenyans.
Yeah.
So in terms of electrification, Davis Churchill had put together a basket of 76 billion shillings commitment. So I think Wandai is starting on a very good position because it has been set for him.
Yeah.
The G2G is working very well. He has to make very serious decision on whether to extend it or not.
Yeah. So if he's lucky, who's the unluckiest?
He's lucky because the platform is there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of heavy lifting to do. Davis Churchill had done the bulk of the heavy lifting.
So if Wandai is lucky, then who's the most unlucky?
I think the most unlucky, of course, other than Buddy and the health person is housing people. And Alice Wahome, had moved to that ministry from water. I think because we did change the original housing model, whereby the housing fund, which has now, I don't know where we stand. We are only lucky. We should thank God for Mtata for going to court about the housing fund. You know why? Now we have condemned Finance Bill 23. Yeah. Finance Act 23. And we have withdrawn Finance Act 24. Because the court said, please pass a standalone act on housing. If it was condemned, if it was still part of those two, it could have been condemned. So ironically, the person to thank who may save our housing program is the one Okia Mtata, the Republican, as I call him.
You didn't always have kind words for him, though.
No, I'm just saying he did a good thing. Well, I've not heard bad words about Mtata. We are very, very close, and I think what he does, adds value to the national discourse. Yeah. But I think we are lucky that he went to court because at least now the housing fund is there. But I think CS Alice Wahome now needs to go back to the original spirit of the housing fund. Housing fund was never meant to buy houses. It was meant to be like a cushion in case markets don't take up. I look forward, if this program is to work, we have to let the markets work. People have to develop houses, and other people have to buy houses. Government cannot buy houses. Yeah? If the government buy houses, like driving a car at 180 kilometers per hour, and it's out of fuel, it will stop. As soon as day follows night, it will stall. The biggest risk we are having as a country is something called production. If the people in agriculture, that gentleman from my village, if CS Muvuria don't get the act in order, and the related ministries like CS Miano in tourism, the CS in charge of labor export called Afren Ganga Mutua, we know if you don't get money that is not in this country, if you don't get money from exports, if you don't get money from investment, if you don't get money from value addition in agriculture, if you don't bring in tourists, can you imagine, Trevor, 1 year, our tourist arrivals in a tourist country, we have beaches, we have got national parks, we have got all these things, we have got the cradle of mankind. We are still at 1.8 million people, tourists per year. That is Dubai in 4 days. That is Dubai in 4 days. And I really hope CS Miano will, because we need to have some money from out there. We can't keep on money circulating from Trevor's pocket to my pocket, back to your pocket. We need some divine intervention, which is money from out there. So this holding of exports, this holding of manufacturing, this holding of tourism, this untapped and discovered potential in mining, which I hope my good friend Joho, will stop celebrating and now get down to work. I think we don't have the luxury of celebration. If we don't produce, if we don't export, all these things you're talking about, Gen Zs, you know, all these jobs, all this, whatever happened in this June will be a picnic. And you will remember my words.
So you predict that it's going to happen again?
If we don't create real jobs. There's someone who asked me yesterday in another interview whether we are going to be listening to Gen Zs. And I'm saying, I don't think deep down they have Gen Zs want to be listened to. Gen Zs want solutions. They don't want a debating club. And the solutions they want, these people went to school on free education from Kibaki, from class 1. By the time they got into Form 1, Uhuru was there with the free secondary. They will never really hustled. And now they come out there, and for the first time, boom, reality hits. There are no jobs. My friend, you cannot prepare around the issue of jobs. Something real, something fundamental. You cannot spin your way out of this situation. And if we don't do anything about it, as sure as day follows night, as sure as sun rises in the east and sets in the west, we will have the same situation within another 24 months. Having
seen what the Gen Zs did, do you think they won or lost?
I think, of course, they won. Why am I here with you as a former minister? Isn't that victory on their side? Isn't that what they wanted? You know? I think they won because at least now we have a conversation around the real issues. They may not have the sophistication and experience to craft what they want into some end game, you know? But I think they don't need an end game. I think the fact that we have seen fundamental changes in this country, the fact that even now we have the opposition within government, the fact that now for the first time we are focusing on the real issues.
And you predicted Raila Odinga working with President William Ruto before it even happened. Is this the scenario you envisioned during your prediction?
Yes, this is one. Don't forget that in 2018, 22nd of February, before the handshake, I predicted Raila Odinga will work with Uhuru Kenyatta. 2022, when we were campaigning, I predicted Raila Odinga will work with William Ruto. I have been vindicated. But it's not because I'm a prophet. I'm not a prophet of any shade. It's because, as I'm telling you, the structure of our country is fundamentally flawed. And that's why now I really want us to see us institutionalize this one. I don't want another broad-based. I don't want another handshake. I don't want another grand coalition. I want us to institutionalize this one.
So what do you predict now? How long is this going to last, and are they going to work together in 2027?
Two answers. One, Opalanya said something very interesting yesterday. He said if we don't listen, he will resign. I still think that is a very, very, very real prospect. I really wouldn't count on the opposition people to see it through towards 2027.
You think they will?
I think they'll walk out at some point.
Why?
Because they will walk out to prepare for 27.
Is the system too flawed that they can't
No.
fix it?
They have got their interest for 2027. So I just hope that also, other than having their interest and wanting to, to get power in 2027, they will not forget that we can't play. This is not a laboratory. This is a real country. These are real issues. These are real lives of people. We cannot play ping pong. We cannot play, experimental politics on a country. We cannot. So I really hope they do stay.
But you don't think they will?
Let's say it's 50-50. It's 50-50, and of course, so many things will happen. I think. That is why I just don't want us to now get lost in personalities, in parties with here and there. That's why I'm really committed to this issue of constitutional reform. So
how soon do you think this referendum should come by?
I think it will come sooner than later. Because we can't consume the goodwill. We can't sit on the deposit. And that's something, the reason I visited Baba last week was to agree that we can't sit on this deposit for so long.
So are you already crafting something?
Oh, of course. Me personally, I'm working on something.
So you want to start this off like a popular initiative?
Oh, yes. I don't know how, but I'll be consulting. I consulted Baba. I'll be looking for the president to consult him. It's something really, I say, I have to do this for my children. I have to do this for posterity. I have to do this for future. We cannot keep on taking Panadol instead of surgery. We cannot be doing patchwork instead of buying a new dress. We cannot keep on with handshakes, with broad-based, with grand coalition, with the corporations.
Yeah.
It's about time we become predictable as a country. We know this happens, you do this, this happens. We can't keep on this guesswork. We will never realize our potential. So I think it takes some few people, and for me, I offer myself.
So you want
among
to lead
the people.
This process?
I don't want to lead this process. I want to be a catalyst to this process.
You want to start it?
Nobody can lead this process.
Okay.
We've been there before. What I'm saying, I think, is common sense to so many people. I know I've got people who think like me.
What do you say about presidential term limits?
I think I think we have a tradition now. You know why I wouldn't want to think with the presidential term limit, but other people may think otherwise? Because we have a tradition. This is the best thing we have. This is the best asset we have. That every 5 years, you know that I can only stomach you for 5 years. After that, I have an opportunity.
Including the seemingly frosty relation between the president and the deputy?
Well, I think the issue of the running mate, honestly speaking, I don't think that a deputy president should have security of tenure.
They should not have security of tenure?
No. We are having problems.
That means
we had problems with the other one. We have now similings of problems with this one. It will come again in the future. But again, that's only a part of the problem. It's a symptom. It's a pimple, not the actual ailment.
What is the actual ailment?
The actual ailment is the structure of the top of the executive. Okay. But the minute if you have a prime minister, you have two deputies, you have a deputy president. But now this one-on-one, even in human resource principles, in HR principles, having one-on-one relationship, one person reporting to one, that is problematic, even from a huge HR organogram point of view. So once we now start having a look at this expanded executive at the top, then we will also have some introspection about whether a deputy president should have security of tenure or not.
Do you see the deputy president and the president running together in 2027?
Well, again, I am not a medicine man.
You predicted things that
I'm not a prophet. I think that what I want to say is that I was part of the process that participated in selection of the current deputy president, and I think that it was a courageous affair. Some people thought otherwise, but I think what I would advocate for next time, we were holed up in Karen trying to look for a running mate for William Ruto as if we were the candidate. That should never happen again. A president should never have to consult members of parliament or anybody about a running mate. It should be about him. He's the one who knows what is good for him. Yeah?
And he should be able to fire that person.
He should be able to fire that person.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right.
Because how can you... So, Trevor, if you become my running mate, and then I become president, even if you commit treason against me, then I can't do anything. It's not even healthy for the country. There was this Abu Bakr who was the vice president of, I think, Obasanjo in Nigeria. And they could not even see eye to eye. Yeah. So when you visiting president had to make two state visits, one to Obasanjo and the other one to Abu Bakr. What kind of image is that even for the country? Okay. So I believe that people should not depend just on their good Christian or Muslim feelings to be able to run a country. You should not depend on people's holiness to run a country. We should have a situation whereby even people who don't score an A in terms of holiness still can be able to run a country. Because right now, once we finish with the president and deputy president, you can only take the rosary and hope that they do work together.
Do you have any regrets about your time in the office?
Absolutely not. And Trevor, you'll remember me, and Kenyans will remember me.
Even the statements that sometimes you had a bit of a spat with the PCS in terms of the office space?
No, I never had a spat. I think that was a creation of the media. How can I ever fight? Let me tell you something about Musalia Mudavadi. You have to be extra talented for you to be his enemy. He's such a harmless man. And people try to create this office and that. I said, no. I defer to PCS. Without even meeting him, I moved. I said, no, I can't. Railways was his office. And these things, by the way, they are not personal. Okay. We should not even personalize it. Now I am not a minister. Even have I gone home with my Harambee House office? I have left it there for Muturi, who, by the way, has not found it fit to call me even for a handover. These things are not personal. It should not be personalized.
Does he have to call you, or should you have to go there?
Well, Muturi is my friend of many years, as you know. And the least I was expecting is even ahead of his vetting to, ask for my, you cannot be what young people are calling kipedekezi. I cannot be pedekeza myself,
So you want him to call you?
No, it must be an invitation to do a handover. Otherwise, I was brought up with some mannerisms, which don't allow me to force myself on people.
Speaking of calling, have you spoken to the president since the dissolution of cabinet?
Oh, yes, we do talk a lot. We talk a lot. And let me tell you something, for avoidance of doubt. This issue of inviting the opposition to government, I can largely claim to it to be my idea.
It was your idea?
It was my idea. Way before Gen Z. I could see some trouble ahead. And I was discussing with the president, look, we need to reform our politics. And if we have to get out of this, we need to look at things out of the box. So, whether I'm in the cabinet or not, I remain very proud for the president for taking this decision, because this is what we need.
So you told him this?
Yes,
this is your idea.
I have encouraged him. In fact, there's a time that the opposition were deciding whether to take up or not. I remember I had lunch with Oburu Odinga to try to convince him why they should take up the position. And I remember youth leader, as we call him, Oburu Odinga, asked me, are you not afraid that we will take your position? So be it. If it's for the good of the country.
You were willing to sacrifice?
I was. Remember that time Raila Odinga was in Dubai? I had my ticket on my hand to go and convince him why this is a good idea. And Oburu Odinga was one we were working with him on this issue. I talked to Wandai before they took up their position. I talked to Junet. I talked to all these people. I talked to John Badi. I told him this is something we have to do for this country. How else am I supposed to be selfless? We are here. We're not going anywhere. And we wish the new team very well. Because the question that was in front of us, as I said that time, is we have to make a choice. Do we want a country or a government? For me, I choose a country. Other people were more worried about having a government. And my argument was, if we have no country, of what use is government? If there is no country, if you don't preserve country. At least if we have a country, we have somewhere to turn to. Yeah?
All right.
We can wait. We can have another day. There's a lot of lessons. My friend, I've been in this public life since I was a student leader in the University of Nairobi. It is now some 32 years ago. Yeah? So we've seen a lot.
All right.
More of that in my memoirs, by the way.
Oh, you're writing a book?
By Christmas. Telling it as it is.
What's the title? Telling it as it is.
Yes.
All right. Let's bring up some of the feedback. A lot of questions coming through at Trevor Mbidi at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Monday Report. Let's bring that up and see if we can squeeze them in real quick. Let's bring that up on screen and see what you're saying here. And Caesar says, ask Kuria about Kenya School of Government during Kibaki's time. It was vibrant and trained public servants on ethics and outcome-oriented service delivery. The bureaucracy reduced. What happened?
I think that's a very good question, because part of my job that I was doing in my last ministry was really to bring back the Kenya School of Government to where it was. I'm very proud that I've left a paper that is in front of cabinet, which I hope now Justin Mutulu will be able to prosecute, to make it mandatory for everybody working for government to pass through the Kenya School of Government. Because having people working for government and not going through training, it's like taking people from the streets, not going through Kikanjo, and giving them guns and asking them to be police. So we have to reconfigure. We have to configure the factory settings. And how to do that is by empowering the Kenya School of Government. By the way, I have an agreement in principle with the African Union that within the next 3 years, and I hope Justin Mutulu will see that to the end, that within 3 years, we are going to convert the Kenya School of Government into an African School of Government. 25 countries. Kenya's School of Government is already training government people from 25 countries, African countries. I found around 9. Within the 9 months that I was there, I signed MOUs with 16 countries where we are training, including the entire government of Somalia. We are training everyone for the government of Somalia. Let's
bring up more feedback again at Trevor Mbidi, Citizen TV Kenya. Is the hashtag Monday Report. Let's bring that up on screen and see what you're saying here. David says, except moving his office to 2 Rivers, ask him to tell us 3 things we shall remember him for. 3 things.
Because the second part is good and the first part is bad. Next question.
But 3 things you can be remembered.
You answer that one. You sit at Jibu.
I was on the CS.
People are trolling me every time there. People are trolling us all the time. Since now this is my last interview, they can take that to the trolls and continue with the trolls.
Okay. All right. Shundu says, Honorable Moses Kuria is in agreement with the broad-based government. Ask him why they didn't support the handshake, yet the rallying goal was unity.
I think the handshake was not properly sold. And I want to thank the president for really reaching out and explaining to people. He has tried to explain to people. At least for me, I know that he has consulted his team. Historically, people from Mount Kenya region would have been very worried, especially members of parliament. He took time to go and explain to them that we had zero option, that we have to do this, you know? That was the difference between broad-based and handshake.
Yeah.
Because handshake became a personal project. Remember, I was Uhuru Kenyatta's member of parliament, and we were not involved at all in the handshake. I think a product is only as good as the process that created the product.
Okay.
Yeah? And I think the product for the handshake, even BBI, IDRC, has some wonderful good things. But this is a political process. This is a public process. You need to carry people with you. Okay. And even now, where we are, I am happy the president is going all over and telling people, explaining to people that we need to share this archaism. You know, I think it's very important that you need to carry people with you. You know, this is not even in your family, my friend. You need to know to call your family, your children, your wife, everybody, tell them, this is what I've decided, we are going this way. But to assume people are zombies who can't understand or who have zero capacity to comprehend things is just not acceptable.
Okay, let's bring up more questions here. And Galista says, are you competent? Did your online war with the number 2 cost you the CS position? Will you come back if reappointed later?
Am I competent?
You already answered that in the first part.
You remember me.
Did your online
Kenyans,
war?
you remember me.
Okay. Did your online war
I had my issues with the number 2.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it is his discretion on who serves in cabinet. I think it's the president. I think he has a say there. He did mention that our region is well represented. We got a replacement. So let us wish them well.
Okay.
Yeah, and when I come back, if I'm reappointed, I'm a public servant. I'm a servant of the people. Right now, I'm very happy to go and do my own things, to write my memoirs, to finish my football tournaments, uniting all the young people of this country.
In fact, some people are asking if that will stop.
No, how now?
Okay.
I started supporting football activities and young people on the issues about illicit blues and drugs and all that way back in 2011. My first tournament was in 2011. I was not even a member of parliament, you know? So that will not stop. And, you know, we look forward on the 5th and 6th to reaching Mount Kenya so that we can go to Nyanza and Western region to start the tournament there. And I want to assure the young people of this country, not just Mount Kenya region, Nyanza and Western. I'm doing this across the country.
Okay.
And I've seen overwhelming support from people, from well-wishers, from people who have come to assist me. And they have seen it's a good thing because once you tell people to stop the negative things, you've got to look out for something in replacement.
Okay, let's bring up the next one here. Frosty King says, Moses Kuria has mentioned that we actually need to make changes in our institutions, something that won't be easy. Isn't that what the Gen Zs have been saying? Change.
Yes. There's no contradiction.
Okay.
We'll change. Change we must. Change we must.
It's the
But for me, I feel like let's talk the language of change.
Okay.
This is a language we need to talk about change. Yeah? I like people who are talking, let's look at the positive things.
Okay.
Yeah? No. Other than the half who are trolling us, as if the ones who are trolling us is the Prince of Monaco, doing very well. The majority of the people are saying, what's the good thing we can be able to, you know, to learn from this thing? And I think this changing is inevitable. I've said we have to change. Gen Zs have said we have to change. We have to really look at ourselves in the mirror and do something.
How has being in the public eye affected you? You keep referring to trolls. Did that get to you at some point? Have you read
somebody offered me a job, sent me a message on my phone, offering me a job at, hey, niaje, hey, mzito, kuna job hapa kwa mochari. Niaje, unaonaje, utaichukua? Kwa mochari. Somebody offered me a job as a mochari attendant. Man, it's harsh. It's terrible. And
have the trolls affected you in any way?
You know, because, you know, I just, you know, having done the kind of work that I've done for this country, especially within a very short period of time. And having, even I agree with the need, the need for change, and having a very clear mind about what needs to be done to fix this country. Of course, I'm human. And that kind of throws some of them from other media houses. There's a particular media house which has dedicated 10 minutes of their time every morning to trolling me. And otherwise, quote-unquote, respectable media house. It's not easy. So one of them is a bishop, actually, in a media house. He's a bishop. It's not easy, So I sympathize with them because 9 out of 10, I try to look for a formula how even my being out of cabinet benefits that guy. I look at how they are, their qualification and everything. Tried all the formula, dental formula, Pythagoras theory. There's no chance for them to be minister. So you wonder, is that celebrating how would they benefit? But it's okay, you take them. This comes with the territory.
Okay.
It comes with the territory of being in the public eye. And that is why I'm celebrating now that today, other than this show, from morning to evening, I've just been minding my own business.
Have the calls stopped?
Oh, they have dried up. They have dried up.
Nobody's calling.
Twice I've had the temptation of taking my phone to the phone.
No calls?
No calls.
And compared to when you were cabinet
secretary? Sometimes when you are somewhere in the past, like a show like this, you know that the calls that are coming in after are like this. Now you wonder, Allah, Kwani, is this a recorded show or a live show?
It is.
But it's okay. Also that is, life is an experience, my friend. Life is an experience. So we need all that. We need the throws and, we need the throws, we need the praises, we need the everything. It is not easy to be in public service, to be a public figure.
Okay.
Sometimes when I travel, in my other job, I was traveling a lot in the first job. One of the things I liked was to just go to the supermarket, sometimes pushing a trolley, and nobody knows who is this other black guy. Sometimes in the US, there's so many other black people. Someone will even call you nigger. I say, oh, it's okay. They don't need to know that you are a minister in your own country. But at least you are called nigger, but you enjoy the freedom. You enjoy the being you, and I'm having a lot of that. So even those who are watching, please keep the cause as they are. I'm having a blast.
Okay. Let's see what else you're saying here. Okelo Mwalimu says that's what Honorable Moses Kuria think that there's any serious presidential contender who can deny the current president a chance to clinch a second term. Secondly, what lessons has he learned from his short stint in executive? I think you've answered the second one, but
But I will still answer the second one again.
So let's start with the first.
The first one.
Is there someone who...
Politics is very dynamic. Politics is very dynamic. Otherwise you would be having a coronation, not an election.
There are many people who said that there's no way that the president will lose a second term.
Well.
In fact, there are also those who are saying the direct opposite, that there's no way he'll get a second term.
Well, you see now, let me just summarize by saying politics is very dynamic. And sometimes, do you remember Trump was getting a second term? Then COVID hit. You don't have to do bad things. Sometimes it's just conspiracy of nature. Trump didn't manufacture COVID. He was doing very well. The economy was up there. Then COVID hits.
So there are no guarantees.
Look at him now. He was on the finishing line. Honestly, literally speaking, he could have whitewashed Biden. Now we have got another. Is it 10 weeks left? Who knows what will happen in that particular election? And in terms of the lessons I've learned, is that sometimes doing good is not enough. And the guys you'll find in hell are not necessarily bad people.
Doing good is not enough?
It's not enough.
What is?
You never know, because sometimes you just think performance, delivering, doing good things, thinking. There are some people in government, me when I went to bed, I was thinking about Kenya. When I wake up, I was feeling the weight of my job. I think that's called up. I used to sometimes be jealous of some people. I say, some people, they never go to bed with the problems of country. They never wake up with the problems of country. And as Uganda said, when the madness of a nation descends on a solitary soul, people will call you insane or mad. But there are some people who don't suffer that. Some people are just lucky. They just go, sometimes you find the number of people who care, who say now, Kenya tomorrow, where do we start? They are extremely very few. And that is why sometimes I sympathize with the president, because he was one of the very few people who go to bed with the problems of the country and wake up with the problems of the country.
So if people don't care, then what is their focus?
It's a normal job.
What, is it amassing wealth? Is it corruption?
It's a normal job. It's a normal job. For them, it's a normal job. It's an 8 to 5.
Okay.
It's an 8 to 5. Si ni kama kazi ya truck driver, with all due respect, without being, si unachukua truck from point A to point B, halafu pahali unaiacha kesho unaikuta. That's how they work on the country.
Okay.
Wanakuuliza kwani we are going to rule this country for 100 years. Most. When you try to work, they say, wewe unaenda bio sana. Haya.
Okay. Kimani says, all governments are bureaucratic for a good reason. A bureaucratic system is an organizational structure characterized by a hierarchical arrangement, specialized division of labor, formal rules and procedures, and a focus on efficiency and consistency. Do you agree with this statement?
Yes, but bureaucracy cannot be an excuse for inertia or for lethargy. But unfortunately, now, all these wonderful things which that gentleman has said is what a bureaucracy should be about. Order, efficiency, predictability, But in our situation, people hide behind bureaucracy not to do things, to kill things, to kill initiatives. I think it's downright unfair to this nation.
Okay. And here, this is, he actually signed off and said, Peter says, have you ever spoken to the president since the last time the cabinet was dissolved? I think you've answered that already. As one of the most visible and performing CSs over the last 2 years, owing to your work at MITI of Trade, Investments and Industrialization and NYS reforms, among other things in the Public Service Ministry, did HE ever tell you the exact reason why he dropped you? If not, why do you think he dropped you? You also answered that question. And there's also another question here in terms of, did you ever get any influence calls to make a decision from where you are?
Influence calls?
From the head of state, to be direct.
But he is my boss. Head of state is my boss. And the one thing good about this particular president is his capacity to be pushed back. He told me something, I'll push back. He'll push back. He will whatever. He'll say to me, Apana, that one we can't finish on the phone. Come, we have a discussion. So there's nothing wrong with getting a call to influence. Because what is it supposed to be? You have your attitude. Yeah? So I don't think, you can get problems up, from horizontal, that is your colleague, or from down. If I was to rank them, from up was the least problematic. The biggest problem was from down, and occasionally horizontal. Okay. I don't think from the president, because also the president is, for me, I consider me and the president were on the same boat. Sometimes people thought we were crazy, both of us now, trying to push things at all costs or whatever. But so for me personally, I would have a little problem of complaining, because we are complaining about the same thing. Yeah. You think the president is a human being. Okay. He gets overburdened by things not moving. He gets emotional. So
even he's a victim of the bureaucracy.
He's a victim also. He's trying to do this and that. He wants the best. He wants to do things as short as time possible. I am really praying for him that he really gets his mojo back. Okay. Because with all the things he's tried now and what has happened, it is very easy to give up, to lose your mojo, to lose your focus and your commitment. Yeah. It's not easy. You cannot go and cane all those people in the ministries. You cannot go and kill them. Sometimes you would wish to influence them to do the right things. Yeah. He gets frustrated like everybody else. Okay. Because this is the pain of running a government.
Okay. Yeah. And there's a question here. You mentioned that you had your issues with the number 2, which is the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. And there's a question that, were you doing all this to hit or weaken him on social media? Did you want to weaken the Deputy President?
Now, weaken him how now? Me, I was just a minister.
In terms of political clout.
Me, I was a minister reporting to him. He was chairing our committees.
So what was the issue then?
With who? We just had some differences of opinion occasionally, not all the time. We agreed most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, we agreed most of the time. I don't really have a problem with the deputy. The only problem I have with him is, you see now me and the president and the deputy president, I've told you I've been in public life. I've known people like Raila Odinga and the likes, yeah, for 3 decades. So I'm a very privileged person with a lot of experience. And we have got youngsters in this cabinet, in this parliament. I have got up to 40 members of parliament. I have nurtured from across everywhere. From Samatandi in Arego Song, everywhere, to MPs in Rift Valley, MP for Mgwen, women for Baringo, women for Ramu, member of parliament who are Mombi from Madrid. People have mentored. His own deputy president, own member of parliament, who has passed through my mentorship. You know, people who are my peers, people who are in my party, like the MP for Juja. So I disagree with him in the way, especially of late, he's been talking down to these members of parliament. Everybody needs some motivation, some mentoring, some advice. I think it's even parental. You know, it's even parental. That, you know, some of the members of parliament are the same age as our children now. You know, so I think we owe it to them, honestly speaking. We are going to be remembered, one, by what you did, two, by the product that you leave behind. You know, do you think if Edwin Sifuna would have been passed through the hands of the deputy president, he would be the Secretary General of ODM today? You have to want to grow people. You
don't think he would have been?
No.
Why?
From the way he's, you know, over the weekend I heard him calling MPs or Pumbavu in Kirinyaga. I thought that was unfortunate. You don't have to have the same experience or knowledge like I have. I am fortunate. I should thank God for it. But I think, and I want to mentor more. I want to mentor more. Because even if I mentor these leaders, even the Gen Zs will have to say, Allah, it means somebody can come and also grow. So it has got a multiplier effect. It has got a snowball effect on leaders. So I would really want to encourage the deputy president, much as he's doing well on other areas. Please be patient with leaders, especially with the young leaders. Grow them. Okay. Don't fight them. Sometimes I stomach things that said by those people. I still engage them. Okay. I'm not saying I'm the best, but we are going to be known. A tree is known by its fruits. And the legacy and the work we do, it is standing back one day and saying, you see that person? Yeah? I'm sure there are a lot of people who say, when I grow up, I want to be Trevor Binja. You might look down upon yourself today, but so many people are looking up to you. Yeah? So if I come now and I put you down, it's not only about Trevor. Okay. It's about many people who say, wow, I want to be the best TV guy like Trevor. Okay. So there is a multiplier effect. I think it behoves upon us as leaders to be really grow other leaders. And I'm telling you, the minute you adopt mentorship, as your preferred way of life to grow people and to leave people better, it's very fulfilling. Okay. Right now, I might not be in cabinet. When I look at my products, leaders have grown, leaders will continue to grow, other leaders will grow from the grassroots all the way up. It's like that father who is retired, but on Christmas, there's a child who will bring a shirt, another one some socks, and another one some belts. Now that we're winding up and this is your final interview, so what do you plan to do from here? You say the calls have stopped, nobody's... I am a very busy person. I am doing my private things. I am writing my book. I started writing my book in January, so I'm on the tail end. Hope to launch the book by December. Condensing 53 years of my life is not easy. I plan to do something I would have wanted to do when I was cabinet, which is speaking on a global stage. So the next time you hear me talk about the reform of international finance institution in New York or in some other place out there, things which really I believe. I have a lot of invitations even before to speak in international fora and events about global issues. And I think for me it's a good break from our normal squabbles here and there to go and help talk about climate change, global finance, the reform of the global institutions like the UN and stuff like that. So luckily for me, I'm not short of things to do. Once I finish that, maybe I can consider the job offered by that guy who was trolling me to be a mortuary attendant. Okay.
Your final message to Kenyans?
My final message to Kenyans, let's keep the hope, please. And it is so easy to destroy. It is so difficult to build. Please, let us be patient. Let us not let June 25th be the last time that we almost brought our country into total collapse. And let's go to the deep cause of the matter. Let's embrace this constitutional reform. Again, reform or perish. Reform or perish. Reform or perish.
Waziri, thank you so much for making time for us.
Asante.
And we wish you all the best.
Asante.
Honorable Moses Kuria, former CAS of Public Service, saying this is his last interview for now. He's getting away from all the squabbles. I hope all your questions were answered. We thank you all for making time and staying with us this late. On behalf of everybody else who made this possible, we say good night and God bless. Bye for now.